Aaron Weber joins us, comedian on tour, touring the world. Aaron Weber, welcome. You're on the Bob and Jeff Show.
Hey, happy to be here. I'll take world, but it's pretty exclusively the United States at this point. But
well, we saw.
Actually, you know what? I'm in Canada
Alberta,
in a couple
Canada.
weeks. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Canada. That doesn't feel like the world, does it?
We have a Canadian right here, so I'm going to let him.
I'm sorry.
Let him ask the first question.
You forgot about Canada.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It feels so close. We're friends, you know? You made it sound like I got a show in Dubai coming up. You know, I wasn't even thinking about Canada. I'm sorry about that, man.
Aaron, you are from Alabama. You're out of Tennessee. You went to Notre Dame. How did you pull that off? You're supposed to stay in SEC country when you're down there, aren't you?
I know, and I grew up a pretty staunch Alabama fan, and the 2012 national championship game kind of ruined that. But, yeah, I had family that went to Notre Dame, and I visited, applied. I loved it. I'm still a pretty rabid Notre Dame fan. I try to go back for at least one game a year. That's been a goal since I graduated. But I love it, man. It's a whole lot of fun. I was just talking to somebody about this, but it was especially fun being a Notre Dame fan with all this conference realignment. You know, we get trashed relentlessly about not being in a conference, and then, you know, everything gets crazy around the country. And Notre Dame, we're independent. We're up there. We're hanging out. We're watching the chaos unfold around us. So it's been a good time to be a Notre Dame fan.
Aaron Weber, our guest, comedian. He performs, starts his tour tomorrow. Is that right? Or are you continuing your tour?
Continuing, yeah. I'm on the road pretty much every weekend. So, yeah, I'm going to be in Albany, New York next weekend, then in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Then I'm hopping around wherever they'll have me. Wichita is a town that I've visited a bunch. I used to do the Looney Bin, the club out there before it shut down. But yeah, man, I'm all over. I'm wherever they will have me. I'll go to somebody's backyard if they want me. Reach out. We'll make it happen.
I know you're very close with Nate Bargatze. You guys do a great podcast together called Nate Land. I sense a breakthrough coming in comedy for some of you guys. How important was it for not just him, but for a whole flock of young comedians, for him to host Saturday Night Live this past week?
It was amazing. Well, you know, when I started stand-up and I exist in the little stand-up comedy world that I'm in, you don't even think that Saturday Night Live is in the same universe as you, right? It just feels like this unattainable, this American institution of comedy. It's been around, you know, way longer than I've been alive. So it was pretty surreal. I got to admit, it was to watch the show and have a guy who I sit across from and record a podcast with every week, to watch him walk out and host Saturday Night Live. So, yeah, it's very special to be in the orbit of somebody like that. And, of course, having people that successful around you as a comedian, it's really good to have that around. It's inspirational in a way. It was a very special thing. I don't want to understate that.
Well, I'll have you know, he appeared on this show a little over a year ago and really took off after that. So
that's the trajectory, dude. A year from now, I want you to watch Saturday Night Live. I'll be there.
from Wichita radio to worldwide.
There you go. No steps in between. It's just one step from there. Yeah, absolutely.
So that podcast just feels like a comedy school where you guys are just you have to learn so much from each other. Not that you're not already very established. You're both obviously hilarious. But I imagine getting together with other funny people is just almost like I said, just like going to school.
Yeah. Do you remember when my sister played volleyball in high school? And I remember they would do this thing. It's called Pepper. They probably do it in soccer or stuff too. But you know what I'm talking about, Pepper? Where they just kind of sit around and just kind of...
in baseball.
Oh, okay. I've never heard it used in baseball. But, yeah, you're just kind of quickly throwing the ball to each other. And just that's what the podcast feels like for me comedically, where I'm with three guys that I love as comedians, and they're all very smart in their own way. And it's just hours of us just bouncing nonsense off of each other. And so, yeah, I mean, we've had jokes arise, like bits from my act that come out of the podcast, out of conversations with that. And Nate and Dusty Slay's the other guy who does a podcast with us, and those are
also hilarious.
Yeah, they're so great. They're like geniuses in their own way. So just working with them and trying to riff with them about stuff, it's the best, man.
Well, I'm kind of curious. How did you get into this? Was this something from a young age? Did you just get to high school and had too many beers one night, and you were sitting around with the boys, and you're like, I'm kind of funny. Like, give me the backstory to this.
I was always a fan of stand-up. I used to have multiple routines from different comedians memorized when I was a kid, and my parents would make me perform it at Thanksgiving and things like that. So I was always a fan. And then the vain, narcissistic side of me, I love the idea of just everybody paying attention to me. You know what I mean? I love the idea of talking and the whole room's listening. So it was kind of the perfect storm of those two things. The thing, when I started doing it, I realized that there's no real barrier to entry for stand-up comedy. I mean, anybody listening right now, including the hosts of this show, you could all do stand-up right now. There's no barrier to entry. You just show up at an open mic. You show up, you write your name down, and then you have the stage for 4 or 5 minutes. And you can just do whatever you want. So once I realized nobody's stopping me from doing this, I can just go do it myself. That was 8 years ago. I did my first open mic in Nashville, and 8 years later, I'm doing it full time. It wasn't my goal when I started out, but I realized quickly that it was a lot of fun, and if there's a way to make a career out of it, then yeah, why not go for it?
Talking with Aaron Weber, comedian. We hope that we'll see him again in Wichita at some point, for sure. So I'm curious, because none of us are always funny. Maybe you are. But when you sit down with Nate and Dusty and before you hit the play button, what's it like when you're just hanging out and not necessarily trying to go for laughs?
There are guys, comedians I know who are funny, who are on all the time. And they're the same energy they are on stage, they are off stage. And I got to tell you, it is exhausting to be around. I'm not one of those guys. Names. Yeah, no. I'm not a guy who's super dialed up on stage or anything. I don't have like rainbow suspenders on and a clown nose or anything like that. But I'm a little more animated and a little more physical than I would be in conversation. But the interesting thing is when we show up to do that podcast together, a lot of times we're shooting the breeze beforehand. And Nate will say, save it for the podcast. Like, this is all, let's stop. We're getting a lot of like good stuff out, but the cameras aren't even rolling. So let's just wait. So sometimes we just sit there in silence until we're ready to record, which is a little awkward.
Yeah, I love that. So I want to see more of you. I've watched all your YouTube videos. Where can I just see every joke you've ever told? Because I think you're hilarious.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, the best way to do that is to come see me live if you're listening. Yes. That's the best way. I don't have everything recorded and documented. I definitely want to save a lot for the live show. That's kind of it's a good thing and it's an annoying thing as a comedian about comedy is that we're not like musicians where people want to hear the hits. It's like a good joke. It can still work multiple times, but it's never going to work quite as well as the first time they've heard it. So try to save a lot of that for the live act. I do have multiple short specials out on YouTube. Comedy Central, I did one with them earlier this year, and then I did a longer set with Don't Tell Comedy. And then I've got all kinds of shorter bits on my Instagram and TikTok accounts if you're into that. So I got a lot of stuff you can check out, but the bulk of it, kind of the meat of it, is going to be at a live show.
So how is Nashville as a comedy city? You're probably, when you were young, it's probably New York, Philadelphia, L.A. Obviously, Nashville is emerging there. How would you kind of rate it as a comedy hotbed?
It's up there, man. And that used to be the truth until pretty recently, that if you wanted to make it in this business, the thinking was you move to Los Angeles or you move to New York City. That was the trajectory. I think because of the internet, that's a little less important. You can get eyeballs on you wherever you are. So Nashville, I love the city in general, and we've got a great comedy club here called Zanies. And in my opinion, like the comedy scene of any city trickles down from the club. The club's like it's like the franchise, and it's like, and then all the other shows are like the farm system for that club. So we've got a great franchise in Nashville with a Zanies Comedy Club. We had a bunch of comedians move here during COVID. So there's really like a thriving scene. There are great comics here. Locationally, a lot of practical things are good about it. Like it's close to a lot of markets. It's a good place to be. So, barring something crazy, like I get a television show in LA or something, I love Nashville so much. I think I can do a lot here. I don't plan on leaving anytime soon.
Before we let you go, and we're talking with Aaron Weber, comedian, I did want to ask you about your baseball card collection, because you've talked a lot about that. Where are you with that? Why is that important to you?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I got married a couple years ago, I was looking for, apparently now you got to buy gifts for all your groomsmen. I don't remember this ever being a thing, but apparently now you're supposed to buy gifts for your groomsmen. I was looking for something, A, affordable, and B, a little unique to give them. So what I did was I found a baseball player who was relevant to each groomsman somehow, and I bought the rookie card of that player and I gifted it to all my groomsmen, and that got me back into it. I had tapped out since I was a kid. My era, the 90s, early 2000s, that's now called like the junk era from baseball cards, because everything was overprinted. None of the cards from my childhood are valuable at all, which is pretty frustrating, but I picked it back up in 2020 like a lot of people did, and that it got me back into baseball. I know all the players now. I mean, I can tell you a lot of the minor league players that are on their way up. It's a great way to get involved in the sport, and because of that, I've been a huge baseball fan the last couple seasons. I just know everybody. It's like hopping in a TV show 5 seasons in. You're not going to know what's going on, but if you've got I've got all these cards. I know all the players involved. So it's a lot of fun again.
Good stuff. And then we made a comment at the start of the show, because I remarked to these guys how likable you are on stage. So what's more important, likability or being damn funny?
I mean, obviously the goal is to do both. But I'll tell you what, if the crowd is on your side, if they're giving you the benefit of the doubt, then you can afford to be a little less funny. You can afford to, have a joke not do so well, because they still bought into you. So my goal is, I go out there, hopefully they like me, and they're just going to be on board with what I'm trying to do for an hour. So that's half the battle. It's just getting them on your side,
You check both boxes, Aaron.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. We hope to see you in Wichita at some point in the near future. But your career now is
man. When I get up there, let's do something in studio. If that's perfect. Yeah, thank you, man. Let's do it.
Take care.
In studio would be awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you,
absolutely. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.